How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm excellent. How's the mental toughness forum shaking out? I
It
was
is
watching
it
some of
is
it yesterday.
it is going very well. It is going very well. Everybody seems to love that event that we do it every single year, and it's kind of crazy. It's now our third year, and it's wild. But no, it's great. It's awesome.
Actually, Katie, can you do me a favor? Can you push out a link to that to everyone that shows up today so they can watch? Because you can pick and choose which speakers you listen to, and the format and the website for it's just fantastic. Um, I was listening to Tim Grover yesterday. Made me made me just want to be better all around.
Yeah.
you can't you can't listen to that guy and be like, I gotta do better, you know?
How about
Oh,
how
yeah,
about
hold
when
on.
he starts and he's like, "Welcome to the Mental Toughness Forum." Enough with the pleasantries, and then he just gets right into
Just like right, I
it.
was like, he's talking to me. He's very stern. He's very stern. So I think we get right into it. We got quite a few people on here. More than anything, thanks for getting on as usual. And you know, we've had a lot of transition here. And you've been a big part of my move here. Helping me through this mentally. You're the best at this, and consistency is key every time. Like just listening to Tim yesterday, it's like every time I get off the tracks, it's for me having a lack of consistency. So you helped bring that to my life, and just wanted to say thank you a million times over for being on, and we appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome, and just so excited for you. And I think a Zoom screen that has about the same amount of people that were always on it is a reflection of the team and the relationships and everything that you've done and you have, and because of who you are, you'll continue to maintain all the relationships that you previously had. There's no doubt in my mind because you're a special human being and people love you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. So we're talking
Um,
standard continue today.
Yes. So we're going to have some fun with this today. We're going to do one thing that's a little bit different and very intentional. So you know me, I never call people out. I do want to ask, this is very important to me. If you guys can, unless you're driving or something, I really would love for you guys to turn your cameras on. I don't say this to impress you, but I normally charge $22,500 for a 1 hour Zoom call like this. And I'm doing this for you guys. And so I really want the Zoom screen so I know you're paying attention because otherwise I'm going to send you a bill.
Cameras
There
off.
we
Perfect.
go. Now I like the screen. See, you get a bill for $22,500. You turn your camera on. All
Your ears
right.
perked
So
up.
and so I don't say that to impress anybody. I'm very serious about what I do because I'm on here because I love Brett, and Brett has invested for years in my relationship with him. So I want to help you grow. And so unless there's a reason you're with your kids or something like that, you're driving, I don't want you to turn your screen on, but if you can turn it on, please turn it on because it is very important to me because I know what we're about to do may be the difference in you choosing to accept the standard because we're going to do something at the end that I have not done yet before in one of these that I think is really, really important to make sure that you approach this different because I think the uncertainty, the ups and downs is probably greater than it's been over the last 24 months. I mean, some of it seems downright confusing and I'm just really watching it, yet you're in the middle of it. So one of the things that we're going to do at the end of this, I'm actually going to exit. Well, actually, hold on a second. Let me share this. For those of you that calendared this for an hour, okay, I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands now. I want you to honestly tell yourself if you have to go in 45 minutes, that was already intended, then that's fine. Exit earlier. If you have to exit in 30 minutes, but if you blocked an hour, okay, I want you to commit that you're going to stay on for the full hour. So if you committed to it for an hour, I want you to stay on for an hour because I'm going to do something different that I've never done on these calls before, but it's very, very intentional. I am not going to stay on for an hour. The reason why I'm not going to stay on for an hour is because the last 15 minutes, by the time we get to the end, I'm going to share an exercise for you that's really a quiet, personal one-on-one. It's going to be the beginning of part of what's going to help you create momentum so that you silence the noise, you're not listening to the confusion, you're staying focused on what you can control, and we're actually going to open up opportunities and a pipeline for you that maybe you weren't thinking about before you got on this call. So if you scheduled the hour, I want you to stay on for the hour. But I'm just telling you, I don't want to watch you guys do this work and sit in silence for 15 minutes. So I'm going to exit 15 minutes early, and then Brett is going to make sure that you guys stay on. There won't be any follow-up, any questions, but I want you to strategically use that 15 minutes, because that 15 minutes could be worth tens of thousands of dollars to you, and it could be momentum. So you're getting this call for free, and I'm promising you that if you do this exercise, it's going to create momentum and additional opportunities in your pipeline, and you can make tens of thousands of dollars. So it's only fair that I say, please, if you block the hour, stay on for the 15 minutes, okay? So I know that's direct. It may seem in your face, but it's free. I'm not charging you. I'm giving you guarantees. It's all out of love, because I didn't make this commitment to always be coming on here quarterly with all of you for us to not help you get through this period of time that you're going through. So I know that's direct, but I think those terms are fair. If anybody has anybody thinks that's unfair, you can let me know. I think that's pretty darn fair. So what I'd like to start with is meeting you where you are right now. I want to meet you where you are right now. So it's interesting. We have this mental toughness forum that's going on right now. Katie will drop the link for you to that mental toughness forum. It's a free online forum, mentaltoughnessforum.com. It's free. Some of you are probably already signed up. If you're not, you sign up. Even though it's Wednesday, it started on Monday. You'll still get links to the speakers from the first few days. One of the things I've encouraged some sales teams to do, I've had calls like this with other organizations over the last week. I've always believed, and I've shared with many of you, what I call unexpected intentional touches. That mental toughness forum is a great opportunity for you to give that to past clients. Text it out to 25 people, text it out to 50 people, send it to your email list. It's a way for you to reach out to people, be a source of positivity and giving to get people through a tough time when most people are just hitting people up for sales and trying to make money. That's the only time that they hear from you. And especially, and it's not necessarily that it's intentional, but when you're in sales, a lot of times, just the naturalness of your sales process, that's when people hear from you. So whether it's the mental toughness forum, or it's a great article that you read from time to time, or it's a video that you watch, I would encourage you to be more intentional on sending things out to people that are going to move the needle in their life. It's going to make them feel better about this tough period of time that you're going through. That's going to make it seem easier. That's going to help them focus on the disciplines that will cause them to be successful. So if you don't send the mental toughness forum, I'm fine. But maybe next week you read an article, send that article. But stay in touch with people and help them through this period of time. Okay? All right, so let's meet you where you are right now. So let's talk about dissecting the mindset of a champion. So right now, I don't know about all of you. I happen to love watching the Olympics. Like, I absolutely love watching the Olympics. So whatever country you cheer for, I want you to think about this year up until August the 7th. So today's August the 7th. I want us to pretend, so this is like the proverbial we're pretending, that you had an opportunity to go to the Olympics. So I want you to think for a minute, you have an opportunity to go to the Olympics, right? Even though all of us are on the Zoom screen, it doesn't look like anybody's in Paris. It doesn't look like anybody's at the track and field events that are going to happen today. It doesn't look like anybody's at the skeet shooting or basketball games. So we all can agree we're not in Paris, but let's have some fun and let's pretend you all had an opportunity to go to Paris and support your favorite country for the Olympics, okay? So we go to the Olympics. There's different ways that you can go to the Olympics, right? Let's pretend and let's talk through the different ways. So if we were to say this entire year starting in January was your preparation and opportunity to go to the Olympics, you could either go as an athlete that has worked their ass off every day with discipline, focus, silencing the noise, not caring what somebody tells you is the truth, not caring about this, not caring about your opponents, just locked in on you being your best. And you could have had an opportunity to show up to represent your country to win a gold medal. Some of you maybe have been showing up this year with that effort, like gold medal effort and belief. Some of you, maybe it's been silver medal. You say, man, the competition, like I'm running against Usain Bolt, like it is what it is. That guy's just too darn fast. I'm going for silver. My best is going to get me silver. Even though Usain Bolt's retired, I say that because he's the fastest to ever run the 100 meters. And I've got a fun story about that 100 meters that I'm going to share with you guys. A little behind the scenes of how Noah Lyles won that 100 meters. Then I want you to think, maybe it's bronze medal effort. Or maybe your effort up to this point was you've put in enough effort, you made the team, and you were just excited to make the team. Maybe you're an alternate, right? So like your effort was, you can be honest with yourself. You can look in the mirror and say, you know what? Like, no, my effort up until this point this year, and you guys know how I do this. I'm not going to have anybody raise their hands, call you out, but I want to meet you where you are. You got to be honest with yourself. What has your effort been? Has your effort been gold medal, silver medal, bronze medal? I just made the team. I'm an alternate. Or are you a spectator? Did you start the year at the beginning of the year and you said, I'm going to go and win a gold medal this year? But because you made the choice to not do the little things, you skipped your training, you skipped your nutrition, you skipped so many steps that you ended up just going as a spectator. But you love the Olympics, so you still went and you supported your country. What category would you put yourself in right now? What category? And here's also something interesting. And once again, I'm not going to call anybody out, but it's interesting how people think, and how you're currently thinking might dictate some of the reason why you haven't been showing up doing what you know you need to do to be a champion every day. So some of you, when I said go to the Olympics, I bet some of you thought, if I'm going to the Olympics, I'm going to win a gold medal. And I bet some of you immediately thought about being a spectator and going to your favorite event. You didn't even think I was talking about you competing. So I'm not going to ask who thought about what and how, but that in and of itself says a lot. So what's your belief system right now? Have you actually been in the game? Have you been competing? Have you been training? Have you been disciplined? And you've heard me say this before, but today I'm saying it a little bit different, putting it in terms of the analogy of the Olympics. Because this is real. When you show up, we can't control if you get the gold medal, but you can control your belief, your effort, your attitude, what you think about if you believe you could get a gold medal. And if you believe that you're a champion, you're going to show up a certain way. If you believe you're a spectator, you're going to show up a certain way. If you believe that you're one of those individuals that's going to wait on the sidelines, you're going to show up a certain way. The statistics are the statistics. I believe it's, and you guys can correct me because this is your industry, but I do enough work in the industry to know that I believe it's now up to like 60 or 65% of individuals in real estate or mortgage over the last 24 months have exited the business. The number of people that are actually active in the business, it goes down to like 25%. So the gap between whatever that is, the extra 20%, there's like people who are only doing like 3-4 deals in an entire year just to keep their license on. And then there's people who are like completely inactive. So I don't know like what the actual active total people are, where you can look and say you're actually full-time. And nobody's results are what they were. But the reality is how you choose to show up is 100% on you. And I know this is a tough message, but I'm saying it because I care. If you've been showing up with anything less than the highest level of belief that you could possibly have, and continuing to do the things you know you need to do, you have to answer to you, why have you been doing that? And you've heard me say this before. I don't want anybody to trip on anything that's behind you. So I know this is direct. This message might be frustrating for some of you. Some of you might frankly be pissed off right now. You might wish that this is not what you wanted to hear. But you know what? I care enough about you that I'd rather have a real conversation than a fake conversation. I'd rather have a real conversation than a Pollyanna conversation. I'd rather have a real conversation than say, next week, this is what's going to happen, and we're all going to be riding around on unicorns and printing money. But here's what I do know. If you continue to do the little things, send people a mental toughness forum, send people an article, stay top of mind, continue to reach out to people that have done business with you. If you've been in the industry for 20 years like Baird, keep spending time with those individuals. I would say this Zoom screen tells us what Brett's belief is, right? Brett's belief is, regardless of circumstance, I'm going to provide an environment where whenever this thing flips, we're all going to win together. So be intentional, build those relationships, keep going back to those individuals in the past that have helped you win, but stay connected to the disciplines that have helped you win. Now, regardless of what your answer was, how you would have shown up to the Olympics, here's what I know. Every single one of you, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. Every single one of you, at some point in time in your life, you have showed up with gold medal effort. You have showed up with gold medal belief. So even though right now, maybe up until this point in the year, nobody's framed it to you that way, and the fun analogy of the Olympics makes you, okay, this is right in my face. I haven't thought about it, but this is now real. I have not been doing what I needed to do. Here's what I want all of you to do for me real quick. I want you to think back, and I've encouraged you to do this in the past. I want you to think back to the period of time where you said, Ben would have asked me this question 6 months ago. If Ben would have asked me this question 3 years ago, if Ben would have asked me this question 7 years ago. So we're going back to the period of time in your life, in your business, where you said, I was an Olympic champion. I was a gold medalist. I represented my country. I represented myself. I represented my beliefs. I represented my discipline. I was a gold medalist. And I want you to think about what your disciplines were during that period of time. And I want you to write down on paper. So now we're reverse engineering. So you say, I'm currently in the middle of it. Some of you may say, regardless of economy, I'm actually killing it right now. You are a gold medalist. What are you doing right now that's causing you to feel that way? What is causing you to have a pipeline that's uncommon in the industry right now? I want you to write down those daily behaviors, disciplines, and habits. If you say it was a year ago, what were you doing then? Every day, what were the disciplines? What were the habits? What is it that you were doing? If it was 2 years ago, what was it? And I want you to just take a minute. I want you to write down those disciplines, those habits, and those behaviors. Okay, now we had fun with the Olympic analogy. Now we just connected to your period of time when you wrote down, here's what I did when I was performing at my highest level, when I was operating as a champion in my business. So whether you're a real estate agent, whether you're a mortgage professional, whatever it is, whatever you're doing in the industry, I want you to think about, you just wrote down those disciplines. Now this is about to get real for you. And remember, whenever we do this, I want this to feel like it's one-on-one coaching. I'm not here to call anybody out. So I'm not going to ask anybody to raise their hands. I'm not going to ask anybody to reveal their answers. But this is important to me that you get real with yourself. So you just wrote down on paper. So we were having fun with an analogy. Now it's about to get real. You just wrote down on paper. So I'm not doing anything magic. I've stayed at my house the entire time. This is my home office. I've stayed in my home office the entire time. You didn't see me warp myself into Baird's office and then Pintar's office and Belin's office, right? I stayed here. So I didn't write down any answers for anybody. All of you just wrote down the disciplines, habits, behaviors that caused you to perform at your highest level in the past. Now I'm going to do something that's going to reveal how you've really been showing up. And I want you to be honest with yourself, because you're the only one that's going to get this answer, but you get to be the one who gets to choose what you do with how you feel about this answer. Look down at that paper. Look at those disciplines. Look at those habits. Look at those behaviors. That's what you wrote down you were doing during the period of time in your business when you performed at your highest level. I want you to think about the last 30 days. How would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? Some of you maybe wrote down 6 things. Some of you wrote down 2. Some of you wrote down 1. I want you to write down on a scale of 1 to 10. If you wrote down 8 habits or disciplines, however many you wrote down, I want you to rate yourself on each one on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I've given my maximum effort. I'm as disciplined as I've ever been. I'm locked in the way that I was back when I was performing. I'm not talking about results. I'm not talking about this is when I'm talking about the disciplines and the habits. You were doing the work. I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 for each of those categories that you are disciplines or habits that you wrote down. What do those answers tell you about you? What do those answers tell you about you? Now, this is going to be a roller coaster. I'm sure you're all on a roller coaster right now. We're talking about the Olympics. You're getting excited. You've been watching. You've been cheering for your country. You're like, yes, we're going to talk about the Olympics. And then you're like, I want to jump through the screen and tackle Ben. And then now some of you really want to tackle me right now. And then now let's get excited again. Okay, so let's stay on a roller coaster, ups and downs and all arounds, which is what the hell y'all been doing for the last 2 years anyway. And then we're going to give you the action step when we connect it with the disciplines that you just wrote down that I think is going to give you the very best opportunity to finish this year strong. The very best opportunity to be prepared and ready when this market finally turns. Noah Lyles won the 100-meter gold. Noah Lyles was the first American man to win the 100-meter gold in 20 years. The last American man to win the gold medal, to be crowned. So when you win the 100 meters in the Olympics, you're crowned, man or woman, you're crowned the fastest woman in the world. So you win the 100, you're the fastest in the world. You win the 100-meter gold for men, you're the fastest man in the world. Usain Bolt was known for years, fastest man in the world. The last American to be the fastest man in the world was Justin Gatlin. Justin Gatlin, I don't say this to impress anybody. I say this to impress upon the point that I've been doing this work for the last 20 years. So when I prepare, guys, I don't just wing these things. You see my notes? This is me being prepared because I care that much about Brett and all of you. I'm prepared to be on this call with you today. I take this very serious. Justin Gatlin is a dear friend of mine. Once again, I don't say that to impress you. I say it that when I share stories like this, I know firsthand how world champions show up. I know exactly what they do. I know how they think, because I work with them every day of my life. This is the work that I do. Justin Gatlin, the last man to win the 100 meters. Now, a fun side note. Justin just came out with a brand new book called Ready, Set, Go. I always do a better job of selling other people's books than I do my own. He called me a couple weeks ago and he said, hey, he goes, will you have me back on your podcast to talk about the book? Well, it's Olympic time. I'm like, hell yeah, we'll have you on the podcast and we're going to drop it during the Olympics. So this brand new episode with Justin Gatlin, we just dropped on Monday. So you can check out our podcast, The Burn, and you can watch this conversation with Justin and I, where we go behind the scenes on a lot of different things. He thought that Noah Lyles, he thought maybe the Jamaican would win, but Noah Lyles had done everything, believed in himself, similar to everything we're talking about. It's part of how I built our message today, was part of this conversation with Justin Gatlin. Okay, so I know how these champions think. When I walk out of my office, you can't see it. So on this side, you see all these jerseys and rings. There's a Justin Gatlin jersey when you walk out that I see every single day when I leave my office. So that's how much this man means to me. It's a USA track jersey signed by Gatlin. It's like, once again, when I tell you I'm giving you firsthand information, this is what it's going to take. So if you take the story I'm about to share with you and you relate it to you being as intentional as Justin was when he was a champion, which is the same reason why Noah Lyles just became champion. None of us, once again, are in Paris to run any track events, right? We're here, you're all in your homes. But if you apply the same focus, discipline, and you apply the same intentional focus as I'm about to share with you to the disciplines that you just wrote down that might be an area of opportunity for you, you will finish this year as a champion. I can't guarantee you what that check is going to look like, but I promise you, if your number that you just wrote down on a 1 to 10 is a 2, a 3, a 0, a 6, you will make way more money if we can get you to a 9 or a 10. There's no doubt about it. It's just a basic math problem. You pick up the phone and offer people enough times, you're going to fall into somebody, even if your sales language is horrific. It's a math problem. The people who work harder win. I've been coaching some of the highest performers in the world of sports and in business for the last 20 years. 70% of my work is still in the corporate world. I've actually worked with some of the greatest salespeople to ever walk the face of the earth, and their language is terrible. Horrible. But they will outwork anybody. You literally listen to their language and you're just like, what the hell? Like, how does he or how does she do that much business? Because they realize it's a numbers game. So all I want you to do is start to apply the math to taking your discipline, how you just rated yourself, and we're going to ramp up the math to ramp up your impact, ramp up your opportunity, and ramp up your business. So here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to tell you this story. Noah Lyles wins the 100-meter gold by like a smidgen of a smidge of a smidge of a smidge. It was like one of the closest races ever. And if you actually look at the picture of the finish line, Fred Curley, the American who got bronze, his leg actually crossed the finish line first. Keshawn Thompson from Jamaica, his body part actually passed second. But Noah Lyles won the race because his torso, which is the measurement of how you win, he crossed first with his torso, even though the first body part, he was third. So his torso technically passed that line third, but he still won the race. Here's why. If you listened to Noah Lyles' press conference after the race, Noah Lyles said in that conference, he said, when I got to the end of the race, I thought to myself, I better push my torso first so my head crosses and I win this race. Now, let me paint a picture for you. The 100 meters is a race that typically takes 9.7 to 9.8 seconds. That's like this. Okay, Usain Bolt, the fastest to ever do it, 9.58 seconds. So that's like this. Listen to what Noah Lyles just said. Now, you guys got to keep in mind, this is what I do for a living. I attack the details and the mindset of champions. A lot of people don't think through this the way that I do and understand it because I work with these individuals. So all of a sudden, he says, I thought about pushing my head forward. Now, many of you go, how the hell were you even thinking about anything? I mean, the race took 9.7 seconds. Like, what do you mean you thought about it? Let me take you back to how Justin Gatlin trained. Justin Gatlin used to, now Justin Gatlin, he and I had some fun. This was actually, we talked about it on the podcast. This was the first race that he ever sat as a spectator and watched the Olympics. Can you imagine? So he actually beat Usain Bolt in 2017, Usain Bolt's last race. Justin Gatlin is the third fastest man to ever run the face of the earth with a 9.77. So he was happy that Noah Lyles won, but he and I texted after the race while he was sitting in the stands. I said, but you were still faster than Noah Lyles. He's like, you're damn right I was. So he was excited that America got the gold back, but he's also excited that Noah Lyles was slower than him. But I thought back to conversations that Justin and I had where Justin would oftentimes spend 2 to 3 hours a day on his hand placement during his start. So imagine you care so much about your craft in a race that lasts 9.7 seconds that you're going to spend 2 to 3 hours just doing this, just his arms, for 2 to 3 straight hours. These individuals, when you hear Justin talk about it, the conversations that he and I have about it, you've got to understand when you train, so that first part of the race is half of a second. If you train half of a second for 2 to 3 hours, what looks like this to us is actually slow motion to these athletes. When Justin runs 9.77 seconds, it's actually slow to him. So the way that he processes a race is actually slow, where to us, we can't believe their feet look like Roadrunner. You ever watch it? It looks like Roadrunner. You can't even see their feet. It's moving so fast. Yet for the individual racing, because of the intentional focus and preparation they had to every single detail of what it takes to be a champion, it's slow. So Noah Lyles does the same thing. He breaks down every aspect of the race from the start to the first 25 meters, second 25 meters, third 25 meters, last 25 meters. So it's so slow to him that he could actually say in the press conference, I thought at the end, I need to push my head forward. But you have to train in such a way that you're so meticulous to the details and the discipline repeated over and over and over and over again that the race slows down for you. I bet many of you this year has been moving so damn fast, and the stress and the pain and the challenge and the fear and the doubt has you wishing that each day would just end. What happens if you just believe again? What happens if you trust again? What happens if you fully commit like Noah Lyles did? And Gatlin always jokes, he's like, this guy's antics are just nuts, right? It's like the guy's dancing all over the place. He's got his fingernails painted. I mean, the guy is just like the ultimate showman. He says, forget all of that. You cannot take away that that man backed up everything that he said he was going to do. He didn't waste days. He didn't waste opportunity. And I bet if we go back to that period of time that you wrote down when we pulled that discipline, if I would have rated you on a scale of 1 to 10 over 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, it would have been 10, 10, 10, 10. You see, each of us knows what we need to do to be a champion. Unfortunately, we allow feelings, circumstance, and financial environments to dictate how we show up, and it keeps us from doing what we know we need to do. All I've attempted to do, even though I was very forceful in saying, turn those damn screens on because I want to see your faces. All I've done today is slow you down, did I not? slow you down to say, remember when you were a champion. Remember what you used to do when you were a champion. Remember how it felt when you were showing up with great discipline. And all I want you to do with the 5 months that are left, isn't this a beautiful thing? Fact is, I gave you an analogy of the Olympics. How would you go to the Olympics? Gold medal, silver medal, bronze medal, participant, alternate, spectator. Isn't it great that that was an analogy? Because the Olympics are almost over. You've got 5 months left in your year. So you can either tell yourself right now in August that your year is over and you're sick and tired of what's happening. You're going to leave your license on and pray to God this thing changes soon. Otherwise, you're going to be one of the numbers of the people that have left. Or maybe you determine, you know what? I'm not going to stress out about these results anymore, but I'm not going to allow the fact that I'm making less now to keep me from doing what I once did to be successful. Because when this thing flips, I want you to have momentum. I want you to feel like a champion. I want you to remember that the person that had all that great success that you're currently having, or you had it 3 months ago, or 6 months ago, or 2 years ago, or 6 years ago, or 7 years ago, you right now, even if your results are less than they were back then, you're stronger now than you were then, because you're one of the individuals who stayed in the fight. You're one of the individuals who made the choice. I will continue to stay in the fight. But to stay in the fight, you might as well throw some damn blows. Because those of you that aren't throwing any blows, you're writing that I'm a 2, I'm a 3, I'm a 5, I'm a 6. Well, I don't know about you. I was never a boxer. I was never a fighter. Yeah, I'm a big, strong guy, and I look like I could maybe get in the ring and box. But I'm not a fighter. Baird can tell you. I'm a lover like Baird. Okay? But I'd be damned if I get into a ring and let somebody dot me up without me throwing some fucking haymakers. So if you're going to step into the ring and fight, step into the ring and fight. Go back to being disciplined. Go back to being a champion. Go back to doing the things that you know you need to do to win. Now, let me tell you one more thing that happened with Noah Lyles. Noah Lyles, 2 hours after he wins that race, Noah Lyles put out a tweet. And I know right now, I want you all, even though none of us want to think or highlight these things, all of you have felt pain, challenge, adversity, all these different things that maybe you've allowed yourself to live in your feelings and to not be more disciplined, to not be more intentionally focused, and to not do the things that you know you need to do. Now, I'm not in any way, shape, or form discounting what your current situation is. I'm just going to read you just so you can understand what other people go through, because sometimes we allow our current situation to actually be bigger than it is, and then it causes us to do nothing. When the reality is, if there's only 25% of people who are active in this business than there were 24 months ago, that means 75% of your competition is gone. This is actually easier for you to get in touch with more people. The opportunity may not be next week, but the relationships you build with those people, because 75% of your competition has been eliminated, you can have a bigger pipeline. And when this flips, they call you. And just like I've been telling you since we've been doing those calls, you stay in the fight, you stay disciplined with a big pipeline, you will make enough money in probably a quarter that'll make up for everything that you've lost. So you might as well stay in and fight. But here's what I'll tell you. This is challenge and adversity. I'm not discounting what you've been through, but this is what Noah Lyles tweeted out 2 hours after winning the gold medal. I have asthma, allergies, dyslexia, ADD, anxiety, and depression. But I will tell you that what you have does not define what you can become. Why not you? I've always believed in an exercise called uncovering the rocks. Every day that has gone by where maybe you've made the choice to not be as disciplined as you needed to be, we're taking a rock and we're putting it on top of your opportunity. Sometimes you go a week, a month. It's like taking a boulder and you're literally putting this boulder right on top of your opportunity, and you can't even see your opportunity anymore. I encourage each and every single one of you, and this is why I'm going to exit early. I'm going to have Brett see if he's got any thoughts that he wants to share before I hop off. But remember what you committed to at the beginning. You said if you scheduled an hour, you guys are going to stay and do this exercise because this is the final piece of the momentum. And I just don't want to sit here and be bored watching you guys do this. There's nothing for me to do. You're the ones that have to take the action. But far too often I give somebody homework or ask them to do something that I know will make the difference, and we make it all the way to 11 o'clock, and then all of a sudden you guys get on doing something else and you don't even start the exercise. But this is too darn important for me to not give you the time to do it. So one of the things that I used to do if I'm closing a year strong, if I've been challenged in my business, if things are tough, I'm facing adversity, or if I just wanted to stimulate my business to really attack, I would walk through this exercise that I call uncovering the rocks. So think about all these rocks and boulders that you've been putting on top of your opportunity. And all I want you to do when we say ready, set, go, just like we start an Olympic race, right? When we say ready, set, go, I don't care if you put 50 numbers on the paper. I don't care if you put 100 numbers on the paper. I don't care if you put 25. I don't care if it's only 10. I want you to just no distractions, no computers, no nothing, no cell phones. I want you to lock in on that piece of paper, and I want you to start writing down your favorite clients that you've ever had that you've been neglecting to call. The 5 or 6 or 10 centers of influence because you've been getting in your own way emotionally and you haven't been contacting them. The individuals that you know that you need to reach out to. And I just want you to use every ounce of ink in that pen, if you can last that long, and just keep going and going and going and going and going. And you're going to have a list of individuals that you can contact right now. And that action step right there, I hope that when I asked you the question, what is it that you were doing during that period of time when you were most successful? I'd have to imagine, knowing that everybody's in sales with a pipeline and wanting to close deals, that something on there should have been related to text messages, phone calls, emails, your voice being heard in the marketplace. So if you've been neglecting to do those things, each of you is now going to have a chance to uncover the rocks and have 10, 15, 25, 50, 100 opportunities. And then what I want you to do, so that the game slows down for you, don't do what everybody else does, which is I'm going to take this list and I'm going to send 100 text messages. Let me welcome you to the world today, because I do coaching work and I slow down to watch the details. This is what the marketplace currently thinks. If they get a text message from a successful person like Baird, it wasn't Baird. So if I get a text message or an email or an Instagram message, and it's literally a typed out message, most people these days, what do they initially think? That's not even Brett. That's somebody on his team. Somebody's doing that for, it's not even Brett. So I want you to bring your energy, your passion, your fire, your gold medal mindset that made you successful in the past back to life. And when you contact these people off that list, I want you to do a voice note. I want you to hold your phone out, and I want you to film a quick video and let them know that it's you. And imagine if there's 100 names, 50 names, 75 names, 25 names, and you literally hold that phone out and you say, you know what, Susan, we haven't talked in a few years. I know this market's been crazy, but I just wanted to reach out to you and tell you that I appreciate you. And if there's ever anything that you need now or in the future, I'm still in the business and I'm ready to help you if you ever need the help again, because I always loved building our relationship and our team loved helping you. I wish you all the best and look forward to hearing from you soon. If you send that as a text message, they think it's somebody on your marketing team that just sent out 100 of them. When that's your face on a video, it was you. When it's your voice on a voice note, there's no disputing. It was you. And that is what champions do. They show up with intentional focus. They show up with intentional action, and they care that much. So I've actually gone over the time. Actually, okay, I'm right at it. I went over a little bit. I want you guys to have enough time here. So I really need to shut up and turn this over to you guys, because this uncovering the rocks, I'm telling you, is going to make a difference in how you finish this year. So to each and every single one of you, thank you for putting those screens on. Believe it or not, for me, Kim, the moment you put yours on, Daniel, you put yours on, Greg, you put yours on, Brittany, you put yours on. Even though we're not talking back and forth, when I can look into your eyes, it's meaningful to me. So I appreciate you doing that. Even though it's uncomfortable, you're in your cars, but it's meaningful to me. Spending this time together is meaningful for me, because I care about Katie and Brett and their entire team a great, great deal. So big love and appreciation to all of you. Lock in, uncover those rocks, one day at a time. Go back to that championship mindset, discipline. And Brett, I appreciate you, brother. And just congratulations on all the new opportunities that are right in front of you.
Thanks, brother. Love you. Appreciate you.
All right, everybody. Hey, stay on here. Baird, don't let them go. So like the moment I go, people are going to want to drop off. Put the pen to paper, uncover the rocks. This is going to be the difference. Text message, emails, phone calls. If you have 100 people on the list, don't do 100 today. Do 10 today, 10 tomorrow. Create a great pipeline, a follow-up list. Be detailed, have intentional focus, and go win more. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.